Did you know the first hour after you wake up might quietly decide how long and how well you'll live? It's true. Most people don't realize they're setting themselves back every morning, often before they've even poured their coffee. This video, I'll reveal the 7 morning habits shared by people who consistently live into their 90s and beyond. And the best part, habit 4 takes just 30 seconds of your time, but could add years to your life. These are secrets that most doctors won't tell you, but the evidence is undeniable. Let me tell you about Walter. At 65, Walter watched as his friends started developing serious health issues, heart problems, cognitive decline, mobility issues. But today, Walter is 93 years old and still lives independently, drives his car, and even volunteers at the local community garden 3 times a week. What's his secret? It's not genetics. Most of his family barely made it past 75. The difference came when Walter discovered and implemented 7 specific morning habits after attending a health seminar at age 65. These seemingly small changes completely transformed his health trajectory. While his peers were declining, Walter was thriving. When I asked him what made the difference, he pointed to his morning routine without hesitation. "What I do in the first hour after waking up has saved my life," he told me, and today I'm going to share Walter's secrets with you. Are you ready to discover the morning habits that could completely transform your health after 60? Let's dive in. Habit 1. Immediate hydration. Do you know what's happening inside your body right now if you haven't had water yet today? Your blood is literally thickening, putting dangerous pressure on your heart and brain. The very first thing centenarians do upon waking isn't checking their phone or turning on the TV. It's drinking water, and the timing is absolutely critical. Leading. Nephrologists and longevity researchers at Harvard Medical School have found that overnight dehydration accelerates aging by 31%. Dr. Jessica Rothman, director of renal health at Harvard, explains, "During sleep, your body becomes progressively dehydrated, creating a condition we call morning blood sludging that forces your heart to work significantly harder and damages small blood vessels. In the brain and kidneys, this damage accumulates over time and dramatically accelerates aging. Take Sylvia's story. At 72, she was suffering from chronic kidney issues, constant fatigue, and troubling memory lapses. Her doctors were considering dialysis, but when she began drinking 16 ounces of water immediately upon waking, before even getting out of bed, her kidney function improved by 28% in just 60 days. "My doctor couldn't believe the change in my blood work," Sylvia told me. "He asked what medication I was taking, and I told him, just water first thing in the morning. Here's what you need to do. Starting tomorrow morning, place a full glass of water on your nightstand before bed. The moment you open your eyes, before your feet touch the floor, drink the entire glass. Not coffee, not tea, water. Room temperature is best, as cold water can shock your system. Make this non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth. Your organs are desperately waiting for hydration after hours of sleep. Don't make them wait another minute. Can you commit to this simple habit that could dramatically improve your kidney function and cardiovascular health? The longest-lived people in the world don't consider this optional. It's essential. Do you do this already? If not, when will you start? Tomorrow morning could be the beginning of your transformation." Habit 2. Exposure. To natural morning light. Are you sabotaging your circadian rhythm every morning without realizing it? If you're not getting natural light within 30 minutes of waking up, you're missing one of the most powerful longevity triggers discovered by researchers. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that morning sunlight exposure within 30 minutes of waking increases melatonin production later in the day by 73%. Dr. Andrew Peterson, lead researcher on circadian health and aging, explains, "Morning sunlight exposure sets a cascade of hormonal processes that determine everything, from your sleep quality to your metabolism and even your cognitive function for the next 24 hours. Missing this morning light trigger is associated with a 37% higher risk of developing neurodegenerative diseases after age 70. Consider Benjamin's experience. At 75, he was battling chronic insomnia that had lasted for decades. He tried everything, from prescription sleep aids to expensive supplements. Nothing worked long-term. Then his doctor recommended a simple change. Spend 10 minutes outside immediately after waking, regardless of weather. Within 2 weeks, Benjamin was falling asleep faster and staying asleep longer. But what surprised him most were the unexpected benefits. My blood pressure dropped 15 points, and my afternoon energy crash disappeared completely, all from just sitting on my porch with my morning coffee instead of staying inside. Don't wait another day to implement this life-changing habit. Tomorrow morning, make it your mission to get natural sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light is 50 to 100 times brighter than indoor lighting and provides the critical wavelengths your brain needs. If mobility is an issue, simply sitting by an open window can make a difference. In winter months or bad weather, consider a medical-grade light therapy lamp as a supplement, but natural light is always superior. This isn't just about better sleep, it's about resetting your entire biological clock to slow aging at the cellular level. Are you willing to give your body this gift tomorrow morning? What's stopping you from stepping outside tomorrow? Your body is literally waiting for this signal to optimize your health. Habit 3. Gentle movement before breakfast. What you do before your morning coffee could determine how your joints feel at 80. Most people make the fatal mistake of staying sedentary until they've had breakfast, unknowingly triggering inflammatory processes that accelerate joint deterioration. Rheumatologists at Mayo Clinic found that gentle morning movement reduces joint deterioration by up to 65% in seniors. Dr. Lisa Monroe, Chief of Geriatric Medicine at Mayo Clinic, states, "Our research shows that morning movement before eating activates a process called autophagy, essentially cellular cleaning, that's crucial for joint longevity. We've measured dramatic differences in inflammatory markers between seniors who move before breakfast versus those who eat first." This transformed life for Harriet. At 68, she was scheduled for knee replacement surgery after years of debilitating arthritis pain. As a last resort, her physical therapist suggested 7 minutes of gentle movement immediately after waking, before consuming anything. Within 3 months, Harriet's pain had reduced so significantly that her surgeon cancelled her operation. "I thought my active days were over," Harriet shared. "Now I can play with my grandchildren again, and it all started with those few minutes of morning movement. Here's your action plan. Tomorrow morning, after drinking your water but before any food or coffee, spend 5 to 10 minutes doing gentle, joint-lubricating movements. This isn't about intense exercise, it's about movement that feels good. Try small circular motions with your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, and wrists. Stand up and gently sway side to side. Touch your toes if you can, or simply bend forward slightly. The key is continuous, gentle movement that wakes up your joints and muscles. Can you feel how stiff your body is first thing in the morning? That's telling you something important. Don't ignore it. This small window of opportunity activates longevity pathways that remain dormant if you stay still. Will you prioritize these few minutes tomorrow to protect your joints for decades to come? Imagine moving with ease at 85 or 90. Those who achieve this aren't genetically lucky. They're simply doing this morning ritual consistently. Will you join them? Habit 4. The 30-second breathing practice. This 30-second breathing habit is the single most powerful longevity practice nearly all 90-plus-year-olds share. Yet most people ignore it completely. What if I told you that the way you breathe in, the morning sets your stress response for the entire day, potentially adding or subtracting years from your life? Researchers from Blue Zones, regions where people routinely live past 100, documented that centenarians practice specific breathing patterns that reduce cellular stress by up to 48%. Dr. Michael Cohen, who studies longevity practices in Sardinia, Italy, reports, "We've measured significant differences in inflammatory markers and stress hormones between those who practice intentional morning breathing and those who don't. This brief practice appears to activate the vagus nerve, essentially telling your body it's safe to allocate resources to longevity rather than survival." In Sardinia's mountain villages, where men routinely live into their late 90s, Douglas observed a morning ritual among the elders. Every morning, before anything else, they would stand outside their homes and perform a series of deep, rhythmic breaths. When researchers measured their heart rate variability and cortisol levels, they found patterns similar to those of much younger individuals. One 96-year-old shepherd explained, "I breathe in the morning to prepare my body for a good day. If I skip this, I feel it by noon. My energy drops, my thinking clouds." Here's the 30-second practice that could transform your health. Immediately after your morning water, and preferably while getting natural light, perform the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale quietly through your nose for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds. Exhale completely through your mouth for 8 seconds. Making a whooshing sound, repeat this cycle 3 to 4 times, that's it. 30 seconds that signal your body to activate longevity pathways rather than stress responses. Does this sound too simple to be effective? The science is clear. This brief practice has measurable effects on blood pressure, inflammation, and stress hormones. Will you invest these 30 seconds tomorrow morning? It might be the highest return on investment you'll ever get for your health. Are you breathing fully right now as you watch this? Probably not. Most of us breathe shallowly, using only 30% of our lung capacity. Start changing that pattern tomorrow morning. Habit 5. Protein and fiber-rich breakfast. Is your breakfast silently sabotaging your chances of living past 90? The truth is, what most Americans eat for breakfast is actively accelerating their aging process, and many don't realize it until it's too late. Nutritional gerontologists have identified specific breakfast patterns among long-lived populations that reduce inflammatory markers by up to 53%. Dr. Valerie Richardson, lead researcher at the Longevity Nutrition Institute, explains, "The first meal of the day sets metabolic patterns that influence everything from insulin sensitivity to microinflammation levels. Our research shows that a morning meal containing at least 25 g of protein and 8 g of fiber creates a metabolic environment that supports cellular repair rather than cellular damage." Consider Gerald's experience. At 68, he was diagnosed with prediabetes and rising inflammatory markers. Despite not being overweight, his doctor predicted he would develop full diabetes within 2 years. Instead of immediately starting medication, Gerald worked with a nutritionist to transform his breakfast. He switched from his usual toast and coffee to a protein and fiber-rich morning meal. 6 months later, his blood markers had normalized completely. "The only thing I changed was breakfast," Gerald emphasized. "My doctor couldn't believe it was possible to reverse the trends just by changing one meal." Here's your morning meal formula for longevity. Combine a high-quality protein source, eggs, Greek yogurt, or plant-based protein if you prefer, with fiber-rich foods like berries, chia seeds, oats, or vegetables. Add a source of healthy fat like avocado, nuts, or olive oil. Avoid refined carbohydrates completely before 10 a.m. They trigger insulin spikes that accelerate aging. Can you make this change tomorrow morning? The beauty of this habit is that it doesn't require additional time. You're already eating breakfast. You're just switching what you eat to activate longevity pathways instead of inflammatory ones. Is continuing your current breakfast worth risking your health after 70? Make the switch tomorrow and feel the difference within days. What will you choose for breakfast tomorrow? This decision may seem small, but its compounding effect over years is enormous. Habit 6. Morning social connection. The morning ritual. That's more powerful than any supplement for extending your life. Meaningful human connection. Did you know that isolation affects your body as dramatically as smoking 15 cigarettes a day? What most people don't realize is that when this connection happens, matters almost as much as the connection itself. A landmark 80-year Harvard study revealed that morning social connections increase longevity more significantly than quitting smoking or exercising. Dr. Robert Miller, who led the latest phase of this multi-generational research, states, "We found that participants who engaged in some form of meaningful social contact before 10 a.m. had 29% lower all-cause mortality over the study period. Morning social interaction appears to set neurotransmitter patterns that benefit cardiovascular and immune function throughout the day." In Okinawa, Japan, home to some of the world's longest-lived people, Nancy observed a fascinating pattern while researching centenarians. Each morning, neighbors would gather briefly before starting their days, some for just 5 minutes of conversation. One 97-year-old woman explained, "If I don't speak to someone in the morning, my whole day feels wrong. We check on each other every morning. It's how we've lived so long." When researchers measured her inflammatory markers and compared them to socially isolated seniors, the differences were striking, equivalent to being decades younger biologically. Here are 3 ways to incorporate this life-extending habit. Tomorrow morning, make a brief morning call to a friend or family member. Even 3 minutes counts. If you live with others, create a meaningful morning check-in ritual rather than passing like ships in the night. If you live alone, consider establishing a regular morning meeting with neighbors or friends, even once a week to start. Can't do any of these? Even a friendly exchange with a barista or store clerk activates some of the same biological benefits. The key is making human connection a non-negotiable part of your morning, just like brushing your teeth. Are you willing to prioritize this tomorrow? Your body literally cannot thrive without it, no matter what supplements or exercise regimen you follow. Who will you connect with tomorrow morning? Your body is waiting for this critical signal to activate longevity pathways. Habit 7. Directed gratitude practice. The one mental habit that people in their 90s practice every single morning without fail. Intentional gratitude, but not the vague, be thankful advice you've heard before. There's a specific way to practice gratitude that activates longevity pathways in your brain and body. Neuroscientists at Yale University discovered that morning gratitude practices physically restructure the aging brain and reduce cortisol by 23%. Dr. Sarah Jenkins, who specializes in neuroplasticity in aging adults, explains, "We can actually see brain changes on fMRI scans when seniors practice directed gratitude consistently in the morning. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation, shows increased activity patterns similar to those of much younger brains. But timing matters. This effect is significantly stronger when practiced within an hour of waking." Patricia's story demonstrates this powerfully. At 74, she was struggling with hypertension that wasn't responding well to medication. Her cardiologist was concerned about her heart function. After learning about gratitude research, Patricia began a simple morning gratitude practice focused specifically on her body and health. Within 3 months, her blood pressure had stabilized and her heart rate variability, a key marker of cardiovascular health, had improved by 31%. "My doctor asked what medication I had changed," Patricia shared. "When I told him it was just my morning thinking pattern, he was skeptical, until he saw the consistent readings over time." Here's the 2-minute gratitude practice that transformed Patricia's health. Immediately after your breathing exercise, place your hand over your heart. Name 3 specific parts of your body you're grateful for and why. For example, "I'm grateful for my eyes that let me see my grandchildren's faces. I'm grateful for my legs that still carry me where I need to go. I'm grateful for my heart that's been beating faithfully for me all these years." The key is specificity and directing gratitude toward your body, not just circumstances. This isn't magical thinking. It creates a measurable shift in nervous system function that influences everything from inflammation levels to immune response. Will you try this 2-minute practice tomorrow morning? It costs nothing, requires no special equipment, and could literally add years to your life. Have you thanked your body today for all it does for you? Or are you focusing on what's wrong with it? Your perspective literally changes your physiology. Now you know the 7 morning habits that could transform your health after 60 and dramatically increase your odds of joining the elite group of vibrant 90-plus-year-olds. You don't need to be perfect. Even adopting just 3 of these habits can create significant changes in your health trajectory. Remember Walter, he started with just 2 habits and added the others gradually. The key is starting tomorrow, not waiting for the perfect time. That never comes. Your morning routine literally programs your body for youth or for aging. Which will you choose? These habits aren't optional luxuries. They're essential practices for anyone who wants to not just reach their 90s, but to arrive there with energy, clarity, and purpose. Which of these 7 morning habits will you implement tomorrow? Your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe for more life-changing health secrets that most people over 60 never discover. Which of these 7 morning habits are you already doing? Let me know in the comments below. Share this video with someone you care about. It might just be the gift that adds years to their life.